All right, Lagos, welcome back. Having moved on from the Edo elections, and of course, looking at today's newspaper headlines, we want to talk about value added tax. It's a big subject, a big issue all across the country, especially with talk of the federal government planning to increase VAT or not increase VAT. Some newspapers had a report a couple of weeks ago saying that the federal government, through the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform, was planning to make a proposal, to increase VAT by some percent. And of course, the chairman of that committee had to come out to make some clarifications. I'm glad to say that we have the chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee with us. Mr. Taiwo Oyedele is joining us virtually. He's the chairman of that committee set up by President Bola Tinubu with a broad mandate to carry out critical reforms bordering on fiscal governance, revenue transformation, and economic growth facilitation. Now, prior to his current role, Mr. Oyedele was a fiscal policy partner and Africa tax lead at PricewaterhouseCoopers, where he worked for 22 years, including over 10 years in top leadership positions, gaining in-depth knowledge and diverse experience, ranging from tax advisory and policy advocacy to business strategy consulting, leadership development, and policy design and execution. He's an accountant, an economist by training. He's an author, keynote speaker, mentor, commentator on finance, business, and economic matters. Glad to have you on the Morning Crossfire. Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, good morning to you. Thank you very kindly for your time.
Good morning, Kofi. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you very much. For those of you listening, please call 0201 277 0993 if you have your questions. This program is for you right here on the Morning Cross. Please call 0201 277 0993. Female line 0201 465 7190. That's 0201 465 7190. Now, about 2 weeks ago, like we said, the federal government, through the Minister of Finance and the coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, debunked some claims that it plans to increase VAT, the rate of value-added tax from 7.5% to 10%. The minister put a statement out through the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nanaga, that's to the President, explaining that the tax system is built on three pillars: tax policy, tax laws, and tax administration, emphasizing that these elements must function cohesively to establish a robust system that strengthens the government's fiscal position. So, well, we want to hear from the man himself, if it is true or not, because we heard him say something like that. Mr. Oyedele, is the federal government planning to increase VAT? Or, better put, has your committee made a proposal, or will your committee make that proposal for an upward review of value-added tax?
Thank you very much, Kofi Bartels. Yeah, so I think it's been an interesting couple of weeks for us. Understandably, the Nigerian people are, the level of trust between government and the people is quite low. So we don't take anything personal when people sensationalize what we're doing or when they misinterpret. We think it's our duty to try and explain. First and foremost, the message put out by the Minister for Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy is correct. So it's not a government plan to do anything to VAT. So people tend to, there's always a mix-up between the work of our committee and what government is doing. So we're people who have been asked to help our country, and we're putting proposals together until those proposals have been given to the government, and the government has approved the proposal. The government has no plan because they haven't planned to do anything. It's us working on those reforms. And the reason why we thought we should engage with the Nigerian people before proposing to the government is that you want to build up by way of consensus and explain to the people what you're trying to do. So essentially, the government is right to say they have no plans to increase VAT. But it's also right that our committee is working on a VAT reform. So this is just one of the many taxes and other fiscal areas that we are working on. It's not only VAT, we have reforms around companies' income tax, personal income tax, withholding tax, excise duty, stamp duty. So we're looking at all the major taxes in Nigeria to reform it. But so what are we proposing? So for VAT, currently the rate is 7.5%, and it applies to so many things, including some basic consumption like some food item including education, including healthcare, including transportation, including, in some cases, accommodation. So when we did our analysis, we found out that the average household in Nigeria spend 82% of their income, 82% on this basic consumption. And many of them attract VAT. So we said to ourselves, you cannot be taxing poverty. So our proposal is to actually reduce VAT on those items that constitute 82% of what the Nigerian household consume. In fact, by the time you go to the lower end of the ladder in society, they spend their entire income on these items, right? So because it's an average.
What sort of items are we talking about here?
So we are talking about food. And the list of food items is over 600. So you can't even begin to start listing them. So whether it's gari, to bread, to yam, to beans. So food, just to be able to survive. Then when it comes to education, whether it is, elementary, whether it's call it primary, whether it's secondary, whether it's tertiary, right? Whether it's private, whether it's public, we just think that education is so critical. When it comes to healthcare, it doesn't matter where you get your services from. We think you should not have to pay tax on healthcare. When it comes to transportation, the only one that we are not exempting from tax is, if you hire a private car, right? For us, we think any shared passenger transportation, you get into a bus, you get into Molue, you get into, even intercity, you get into even an airplane where, you share with other people, because some of the airlines, initially we had said to ourselves, let people pay, taxes on flying, but the airlines are almost dying, so we looked at those essential consumption and we are reducing the taxes in many cases to 0%. And in other cases, we are exempting VAT completely, so VAT will be nil. So we think that anybody that is reporting our work objectively, if you want to do a balance, if something is on 82%, you are reducing the tax, and then on 18%, you are adjusting the rate upward. You shouldn't say we are increasing VAT rate. You should say we are reducing it, because 82 is more than 18%. So this proposal we have, we've discussed it extensively with the private sector, manufacturers, chambers of commerce, small businesses. By the way, our committee has all these private sector associations as part of the membership of our committee. So it's a very large committee where we consult a lot. We've discussed all of these with them. Today, businesses have to pay VAT when they buy assets for their businesses. Like you build a factory, you buy a laptop, you buy a car for your business, you pay VAT on it. Our proposal says you get your VAT back 100%. Companies today pay for services, whether it's the services of a consultant, of an auditor, and they pay VAT. We are saying businesses should get their VAT back 100%. So under our proposals, businesses will carry zero burden of VAT, so which means their cost of production of goods and services will come down, and then they can pass that on to the consumer by way of lower prices. In addition to that, we have small businesses that we believe should not bother about charging VAT. We are proposing that any business that has 50 million naira revenue in a year or less should not have to charge VAT at all. It doesn't matter what they are selling. And we think this would even not only make it easier for them to do their business, it will make it easier for them to attract more customers, because instead of going to a 5-star hotel to buy a meal and pay VAT, I'll go to Mama Put's and buy a meal and not pay VAT. So we also have many states where, in addition to VAT, they have other forms of consumption taxes. They call it consumption tax, entertainment tax, events and center levies. Our proposal is all of that should discontinue because it's multiple taxation. So overall, our proposal is meant to make the lives of the vast majority of Nigerians easier. I would say 99.9%. So the headline of just saying we want to increase VAT rate is actually based on the fact that when you are developing a policy, you have to balance the books. This is done everywhere in the world. By making all these exemptions on food, education, healthcare, transportation, rent, we are losing, by our analysis, over 60% of the VAT revenue will disappear. You can't run a government like that. So if you want your tax system to be progressive, those who have some ability to pay a little bit more, we have to pay a little bit more, so you don't have all of this subsidy that we are providing on this basic consumption funded only by the government. So we can get some of us who have the ability to pay a little bit more, also support in providing the subsidy.
All right, quite interesting. Wow, a lot to talk about here. For those of you listening, you can call right now. Are you now at ease a bit, listening to Taiwo Oyedele, give us a breakdown where he said 82% of household income, the items you're spending on, the 82% of your household income will be down to 0% VAT. Does this sit well with you? Please call right now. You have any further questions to ask beyond what I've asked, please feel free to call right now and have you say 0201 277 0993. 0201 277 0993. You can also call 0201 465 7190. 0201 465 7190. Taiwo Oyedele, give us a breakdown of the items that will be seeing an increase, the 18% of the items that will be seeing an increase in VAT, and what rate is being proposed?
Yeah, so that's a good question, even though it's difficult to answer because normally what you do in a VAT system is very similar to import, HS code. You have a list of items, and sometimes, when the central bank said they have lifted the ban or the restriction on 43 items to assess FX in the official market, everybody saw 43 items. By the time we spoke to customs, those were 1,300 items. In terms of the code. So what we are talking about here, we are talking about over more than 5,000 items altogether that are liable to VAT one way or the other. But I'll give you an example. You buy a mobile phone, you have to pay the new VAT rate. You buy a car, you have to pay the new VAT rate. Bear in mind that all of these items, if you are doing business, you pay the VAT and you get it back 100%, which you are not getting today. So today you pay 7.5%, you don't get it back. Whatever the rate is, you pay it under our reform, you get it back 100%. So in fact, businesses are very supportive of what we are doing. We had an engagement where we had over 300 businesses represented, CFOs, the people that do the numbers. And by the time we're done with our engagement, they were praying for us and saying they hope that government would, approve our proposals. By the way, these proposals we put out there, we still have to fight to get government to approve them. People don't realize that. It's not like government is so happy with, everything we have proposed and they can't wait to approve it. We still have to convince the government. But we think let's convince and explain to the Nigerian people first. And once we agree, then we go and propose this to the government for implementation. So whatever you can think of that does not fall under food, that does not fall under education, that does not fall under healthcare, that does not fall under transportation, that does not fall under accommodation, then the VAT rate will be adjusted. So what rate are we proposing? So we're proposing a rate increase from 7.5% to 10% by 2025 if our proposals are approved. And that rate goes up to 12.5% by 2026. Now, even though your focus for this conversation is on VAT, like I said, this is more holistic than just VAT. We are proposing a reduction in companies' income tax over the same period from 30% to 27.5%, and then by 2026 from 27.5% to 25%. So company income tax rate would also come down to 25%. In addition, personal income tax, all these PAYE that people pay. So we think that people who earn about 70,000 naira or less in a month should not pay any PAYE at all. And those who earn more than that, between that amount and up to about 1.5 million naira a month, will pay less in PAYE under our proposals. And then those who earn more than 1.5 million a month will pay a little bit more, again, just to balance the books. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a situation where government has no revenue to manage the economy, and they resort into printing money, which will create more inflation and put more people into poverty like we have seen over the past few years.
All right, quite interesting. So there's a raft of proposals. I have a lot of questions for you, but let's take some thoughts, calls from our listeners and out there. I can see lines have been ringing. Let's go to the first. This is a female caller. 99.3, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
You're calling the female line, sir.
Good morning, Kofi. Good morning, Taiwo.
Yeah, you're calling the female line, but please just note that you have to call the other line next time.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, thank you. My name is Muiwa.
Welcome.
And my comments this morning, basically, I appreciate the fact that Taiwo started with the comments that there is trust deficit.
All right, lost your call there. Do call back if you can. 99.3, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Kofi.
Welcome. Your name, location, and contribution, please.
My name is Ajoke. I'm calling from Aja.
Welcome, Ajoke.
I don't seem to understand something from this broadcast because right now, as I say, we already have exemptions on food items, exemptions on healthcare, exemptions on education. So I don't understand the further exemption that Taiwo Oyedele is talking about because to me, this proposal is like somebody trying to give you what you already have in your hand and telling you that you will pay. You already have it. And the person is telling you, I'm giving it to you and telling you that you will pay something else for it. But increasing the VAT rate doesn't make sense because we already have this exemption, even on rent. Rent is already exempted for VAT. So what are you really giving us to increase this VAT? I don't seem to get it.
Okay, hold on, Ajoke. Taiwo Oyedele, your response to her question.
Yeah, very good question, Ajoke. So, sometimes we try to avoid going into technicalities. So in value-added tax, there's what we call zero-rated. Zero-rated means when you are selling the items, you don't charge VAT, or you charge VAT at 0%. But anything you have spent in producing that item, let's say, for example, bread. If bread is zero-rated, but you have to pay VAT when you buy the oil, the flour, so everything used in producing it. When the item is exempt from VAT, those VAT you have paid yourself, you cannot claim them back. So which means you build up your costs. Even though when you sell the bread, there's no VAT on it, but there's a hidden VAT that you have, borne yourself, and it's a business, you have to pass it on. When you say the item is zero-rated, it means that you charge 0% on the bread, and any VAT you have paid yourself in producing the bread, you claim it back from the government. So this is what we are doing now. So currently, food, for example, is exempt. We are saying we should make it zero-rated, which means all of the VAT that is hidden in the process of producing food will disappear. So food will become more affordable. The same thing with education is currently exempt. We're making it zero-rated. Same thing with healthcare is exempt, and we're making it zero-rated. Then for rents and transportation, depending on the type of transportation, type of rent or accommodation, you may or may not pay VAT. So this is what we are doing, and I know that this technical analysis may not be very clear to the people.
All right.
What we are even planning to do is to do some model where people can put the item there and see the impact it will have on their product. So we're not here to come and mislead the Nigerian people to say, we're giving you what you already have. What you already have is different from what we are proposing.
Okay.
And what we are proposing is better off.
Ajoke, that's your answer.
Yeah,
I don't know whether Ajoke is an accountant, whether she understands the explanation.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, quickly, please. You have about 30
I hope
seconds.
that this will have the desired effect on the masses because in the long run, the masses just want this suffering to stop. That's it. We just want something that will make us live a better life. So if increasing these taxes will not have the desired effect and implementing and enforcing these taxes you won't be able to do it to the latter so that it will end up affecting the masses, then I don't think there's any point.
Thank you, Ajoke. We have to go. Thank you very much for your time. All right, we'll soon take more of your thoughts when we come back from our next set of commercials right here on the Morning Crossfire, looking at the proposals for a reform of Nigeria's value-added tax and other taxes like the personal income tax or pay-as-you-earn right here on the Morning Crossfire with the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Tax Reform. Man, it's because he's will be right back. Stay with us. Fiscal policy and tax reforms. Yes, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
My darling, are you ready to go back to school?
Yes, Mommy. I have everything I need. All that's missing is my favorite food to drink, Capri Sun.
Oh, what? No Capri Sun. We have to fix that right away.
Yay! And Mommy, every carton of Capri Sun now comes with a wristband ruler for school.
A wristband ruler?
Get a wristband ruler in every carton of Capri Sun as you go back to school. Terms and conditions apply.
Capri Sun, the taste of fun.
I'm in love.
tomato mix, stand up. Easy to open, easy to squeeze, easy to scoop and easy to store.
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
Sorry, madam. There's an emergency at the shop. They need you now. It's a serious...
Nothing is more serious than a Golden Morn breakfast with my family. Don't you understand? All our winnings start with a nutritious golden breakfast. Now, sit down. Please join us.
Yes, ma'am. At once.
Breakfast is serious business. Handle it with a nutritious Golden Morn. Now with a great new look. Trust Golden Morn to help fuel your family to win every day. Golden Morn. Make every day golden.
Is it okay to make fun of our tooth gap? Let's have a talk. Colgate makes your teeth so strong. Stop cover your mouth. Not to do yanga with your smile. Brush your teeth with Colgate. Zero cavities and fresh breath. If you use a Colgate paste. Not to do yanga with your smile. Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate, #1 oral care brand in the world.
Everything surely comes to an end. That dinner, that mushy movie, even that long traffic. But there's one thing that doesn't. Enjoy truly unlimited data with Airtel Unlimited Speed-Based Plans. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to buy now. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Help build strong bones with Vitabiotics Osteocare from the UK. The supplement that's not just calcium, but also contains scientific cofactors better absorption into the bones. Nourish your bones, teeth, and muscles with Osteocare. In Nigeria, we need calcium for our children through adult life and especially for our seniors to help prevent stunted growth, broken bones, and osteoporosis. Osteocare scientific formula, not just calcium for strong bones from Vitabiotics UK, available in pharmacies around you.
Golden penny spread, oh. Easy to spread, oh. Good for the kids, oh. Mama no go worry.
Golden penny spread, easy to spread and good for the family. Available at retail outlets near you.
Step into a realm of endless opportunities at Wellspring University. Whether you're aiming to pursue undergraduate studies, top-up programs, postgraduate degrees, we've got you covered. Our commitment lies in nurturing talent, inspiring innovation, and empowering students to unlock their boundless potential. Explore our diverse range of programs, including public administration, economics, hospitality and tourism studies, nursing, medical laboratory science, criminology and security studies, microbiology, and much more. For further inquiries and to discover the perfect program for you, visit our website at www.wellspringuniversity.edu.ng or call us at 0704-255-0535 or 0907-333-0526. Wellspring University, the future of education.
If you're looking for a regular income, life insurance cover, yes, we are the one. Competitive investment returns, flexible entry and exit. That you can.
Looking for a smart investment with extra peace of mind? Introducing the Utica Custodian Assured Fixed Income Fund (UCAF) from Utica Capital Limited. UCAF is a fixed income mutual fund that offers investors life insurance that covers permanent disabilities and death caused by accident. The fund also pays up to 10 times of your principal investment for life's unexpected moments. Utica Custodian Assured Fixed Income Fund is managed by Utica Capital Limited, a funds and portfolio management firm approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission. For further inquiries on investing in UCAF, email Utica Capital on cis@uticacap.com or send us a chat via WhatsApp on 0703-164-8649. Please consult your professional advisor for guidance before subscribing. UCAF. Invest, insure.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 Naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 Naira airtime and 2,000 Naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack. Open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
Your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Live from the heart of Victoria Island, you're listening to your number one station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. This is Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. Is the federal government about to tax Nigerians more? Are Nigerians about to pay more for value-added tax? The news has been everywhere. As President Tinubu out to squeeze more money out of Nigerians. Don't forget, over the weekend, he told the former principal officers of the National Assembly who visited him that he didn't come to look for money, or he didn't come to make money. He has enough of it. Do you believe that? But well, even if the president didn't come to make money, the government needs money to run. And that is where taxation comes in. Of course, with the news flying out and around about possible increase in value-added tax, we had to bring out the big fish himself, the chairman of the committee that will be proposing anything about tax reform in the country, talking about the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform. He's Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. He joins us live virtually right here on the Morning Crossfire. And it's over to you to ask the questions that you want to ask. Anything on your mind regarding a possible increase in value-added tax, please feel free to do that. We have phone numbers open for you, 0201 465 7190. This number strictly for our female listeners, please. Number strictly for our female listeners. But the regular lines for everyone, 0201 277 0993, 0201 277-0993. We're streaming live on Facebook. Please head to the Facebook page of Nigeria Info. That's Nigeria Space Info Space 99.3. Or you can type in your browser facebook.com/Nigeria Info FM. And of course, we're streaming live as usual on YouTube. Search on Nigeria Info FM, verified account on YouTube. Please follow us and subscribe on those platforms. You can tweet at us at Nigeria Info FM. We have a post up which you can respond to. And on WhatsApp, our number is 08095 975805. 08095975805. Now, in answering our question, our guest says no, the federal government is not about to increase value-added tax. Rather, he says the federal government is about to reduce down to zero the value-added tax charged on 82% of the items that household income is spent on. Items like food, items like education, things like healthcare, transportation. All right, except of course transportation with private vehicles. If you hire a private car, then you're not going to have 0% value-added tax. He also says that the government will adjust. The proposal of his committee to the federal government, which has not yet been accepted, is to adjust the VAT rate on 18% of items spent on items that Nigerians spend their money on, things like buying phones, buying cars, and other assets. Up to 10% in 2025 and from 10% to 12% in 2026. That's the proposal. He says businesses will get 100% VAT back or cash back, whichever you want to call it, on their VAT. Kind of reminds me of some of the general services tax that you pay when you travel to other countries. When you're leaving at the airport, you can get your money back. So it says the companies will get, businesses in Nigeria will get their VAT back. If you pay VAT on any item, you're getting it back. It says small businesses also should not pay value-added tax. So if you're a small business and you make less than 50 million naira, then of course you will not be paying value-added tax. I hope I got that right. 50 million naira and less. All right. And he says, of course, they're proposing that the federal government not just make reforms to the value-added tax regime in the country, but also scrap consumption taxes. So you pay consumption tax on things like a hotel, you go out to get a service, you hire a consultant, all those things. He's saying that they're proposing the federal government scrap that. He's also proposing, his committee rather, a reduction in company tax to 25% from what it is currently. And for some of you, or for some of us out here, no pay as you earn tax, if I got that right, or personal income tax, zero for some category of earners or workers in Nigeria, and a reduction in the personal income tax for another category of those who are in the country. 0201-277-0993. Taiwo Oyedele, please tell us. You went on Twitter. I mean, your Twitter account has been on fire in recent recent days. You put out a tweet on September 11. You stated that, quote, these reforms, if approved by the government, together with other proposed tax policy changes on tax, government borrowing and public spending will benefit our society and restore the social contract. Can you tell us exactly what you mean by this benefit, to the society and then the social contract being restored?
Yes, thank you, Kofi. So, I think it's very important for us to always, I understand that many Nigerians are angry with the government, but we have to always take a long-term view about our country. So this is not about one government, one political party, or one regime. It's about us. And many of us have had the opportunity of the experience of other countries to know what has worked, what hasn't worked. We've had the benefit of getting data in Nigeria to see that the poorest people are the ones carrying the burden of tax for so many years. And we're saying to ourselves, if you really want to have a country that works, then we have to fix that problem. And so we have been very intentional in identifying those areas where the poorest people, the masses, are bearing the burden of tax and taking those things out deliberately. We also recognize that in any country, you must make your tax system progressive, which means the more you earn, the more you should be able to pay. We've done all those analyses. What is the size of a household? How much money do they need to survive so they don't live below the poverty line? We've done all of that so that nobody who is living in poverty or struggling to survive is bearing a lot of burden of tax. They're going to find their tax, bill come down significantly under our reform. So, having said that, my conversation is more like, when Nigerians, and many Nigerians would like for the opportunity to relocate abroad, to the US, to the UK, to Canada, right? And they give testimonies. Many people sell their properties and belongings just to go to those places. Do you think they're going there because the tax rates are 0%? Of course not. In many of those countries, the tax rates are very high, but they are high for people who earn well. In the UK, you earn £13,000 a year, you don't pay personal income tax. But by the time you start earning a lot, you hit about, even in South Africa, you hit 35%, even in Kenya. So that's what we haven't done in Nigeria. And it's because anytime we're having this kind of reforms, the elites and the upper middle class are the one writing the rules. So they keep protecting themselves every time. We said this time around, we'll do it differently. So we engage with everyone from farmers to people with disability, to Nigerians in the diaspora, multinationals, small investors. We've engaged with everyone and we've used data to say we have to fix this problem. And that's why we said issues of taxation is at the heart of the social contract about whether society will work at all or whether it will not work. So this is the journey we are embarking on. And that's why we are, I even took a very big risk of putting this VAT reform on social media and asked people to vote. I was even pleasantly surprised myself that even on Twitter, where you have the most angry people on earth who are just angry about everything, we got 60% support for the reform, So I'm quite, very positive about the outcomes of what we're working on. I think it's important for everyone to understand what we're doing so we don't by ourselves, use our narratives to make a good reform become a bad reform. Because when you say to people that, prices will go up, by the time you make this reform that prices are supposed to come down, people will take advantage of it and just raise their prices. So that's why we are saying to them, we started with those businesses to say, don't raise your prices, you should reduce your prices, because this is how your cost will come down under the reform. And they can't dispute it. These are the people with numbers, the CFOs. They know exactly what we're talking about, so they are very supportive of our reforms.
Okay, interesting. What are the challenges Nigerians individually and corporately, in terms of businesses face? The plethora of taxes, levies that the state governments, and I don't even want to go down to local governments, bring their way. Some of these consumption taxes you're planning to take away, the state governors or governments are bringing them back through the back door, if you want to call it that. What is your committee? Does your committee have any mandate to engage with state governments to say, let's harmonize this thing instead of having it haphazardly? Because I remember when Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was coordinating Minister of the Economy, there was a joint task board sticker that was meant to cover all the stickers that you're charged in different states and all that. That's just one example. So is your committee engaging with state governments to avoid multiple taxation and then a reversal of what your policy is meant to achieve?
Fantastic question, Kofi. So, this is actually one of the top deliverables for our committee in terms of what we must accomplish, and that is the multiplicity of taxes. So our mandate covers the whole country. So it's not a federal government reform. We went to the National Economic Council and we presented ourselves to the governors, and we got them to adopt the work of our committee. So we are also engaging with the local government. So we've identified over 60 different taxes and levies, over 60, collectible by federal government, state government, and local government officially. Unofficially, we got to over 200 and we stopped counting. Taxes and levies, almost everywhere you turn, there's a tax you have to pay, there's a sticker. We spoke to traders in the market, and they told us people who sell sachet water, pure water, they pay about 6 to 7 stickers every day. That's the level of wickedness we have seen in Nigeria. There's a wheelbarrow tax, there's a bicycle tax, there's a produce tax. This is insane. No country has become wealthy by taxing poverty. That's exactly what we're doing in Nigeria. So we have now, in fact, we have a draft already. All those taxes are compressed to, we've recommended repeal of more than 90% of those taxes will no longer exist. The ones that are left, we've harmonized them, and we are left with 8 taxes, only 8 taxes across local government plus state government plus federal altogether, not more than 8. In fact, the 8 we have, nobody will have to pay more than 4. Because some people are just companies. They are not. You can't be company and individual at the same time. We have proposed this not only in terms of the law we have drafted, we've also sent it to the National Assembly to amend the Constitution so that nobody will come and reverse these reforms. We have also said to ourselves in our draft that nobody should have to pay tax in cash. If somebody has no mobile phone and they have no bank account, it doesn't matter what they're doing, you should not have to tax them at all. So which means all these stickers, all these receipts, some of which don't get to the government by the way, would stop. And our proposal is that local government should collect only one tax. So, maybe you are you are a tailor, you are a vulcanizer, you're in the city, your rate will be different from if you're in the rural area, or you may be exempted completely. But imagine that you need to pay 2,000 naira a year and you are a tailor. 2,000 naira a year is all you have to pay. The day you pay 100 naira, start something, it tells you pay 100 naira, you have 19 left.
All right.
You just pay as conveniently as you can for the year, and then we can track the amount that is being paid to ensure that we provide social services and benefits for the taxpayer.
Because when you said, we want to make sure that things like transportation, which as part of the 82% of household public spending is exempted from value-added tax, some of these backdoor tax that ends up being multiple taxation that can reverse the reforms of the committee and the gains of your committee's reforms happens to be the taxation on transportation. Lagos State, as a case in point, a case study where on the road every single day, commercial bus drivers are paying, some of them tell me to pay 2,000, 3,000 naira every single day. Those who engage in logistics, moving goods from one place to the other, pay in every single local government they go to. Someone has to bring it and say, hey, pay me. at least 1,000 naira per trip. At least sometimes the 1,000 naira you pay at different places. Personally, I had to pay. Personally, moving my personal items from the point of purchase to my house, I had to pay at different points down to my street. I know it's a tall order, but I mean, is transportation exempt? Let's talk about the transportation levies that we pay in Lagos State, for instance. Are you engaging with NURTW? Are you engaging with RTEAN, for instance? Maybe with MC Olomo and his boys. Let's call a spade a spade. Yeah.
No, you're right, Kofi. This is a nightmare for everyone. Even me, I have also been a victim of this kind of extortion. I'll call them real extortion. Both in, sometimes you're traveling, sometimes it's within Lagos. Even in Abuja, it has happened to me. We're just waiting for the traffic light and somebody was knocking the window. And my driver said they wanted to collect us. I said in 2024, in the federal capital city, we are behaving like we're in the Stone Age. Now, what we have done and what we are planning to do is to ensure that all those things will be a thing of the past. And I can tell you it will not be easy, but we have to try and we have to believe that this can work. And if we come together, our collective will be more than anybody that is trying to push back on these reforms. So the whole idea is that when you are, taking your cadre or logistics or you're driving your vehicle and they stop you at every point, what they're doing is, in principle, they are collecting taxes for the local government. But that also gives them the opportunity to collect taxes for themselves, including some receipt that they give you and doesn't go to the government, which is why we're saying just get rid of all those taxes so nobody has an excuse to be on the road trying to collect taxes physically. We want to outlaw it and criminalize it. To even stop people physically to collect taxes, you shouldn't have to stop them. They should pay on their phone. If they refuse to pay on their phone, it's easy for you to debit their phone so that when they load credits, it takes that tax from them. We can use advanced technology to solve our problems. And in fact, we saw a trucker who was transporting goods from the north, I think it was Yam, coming to Lagos. And the guy said he paid over 450,000 naira in levies at different points. Of course, more than half of that will be illegal one, but he had to pay anyway.
Including police tax.
Including police, so you can't sit inside the bush and quoting the law for them. He just paid. But what happens? When you get to Lagos, the yam is expensive. The poor person cannot afford the yam. So the whole idea is you don't have to pay to anyone on your way. We saw also a transporter who had 72 stickers, one journey, 72 stickers, 25, 15, 12. This is a real problem that we have to deal with as a country, and we must face it head on. So what we are doing, because we don't have powers to compel, state government and local government, that's why we are working with them to say, this is good for society, this is good for you as well, it's good for tomorrow. At most, you are in office for, let's say 8 years, your 8 years will come and go, and you come and face this problem together with us. So why don't we solve it together now? And you can have your name written down in gold as a legacy for reforming our country for the better. So, and we think we can start with the FCT, because in the FCT, the president is like the governor. So once we're able to convince the governor, we make FCT the model, and then we build from there. Lagos, we have a joint committee with Lagos State government. By the way, they are very supportive of what we're doing. Right. So imagine you can get Lagos, you can get FCT, the rest of it, just build up from there. And in a matter of time, these things will be in our history.
All right, I can imagine some people, had a little wry smile when you said the president is governor of FCT, because there's a man going around with a 001 number plate. Let's leave that for another day. We have calls coming through. 99.3, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kofi.
Welcome. Your name, location, and contribution, please.
Good morning to your guest as well. I'm Mrs. Oboli. Well, when your guest started off this morning, I was a bit jittery because anything that borders on taxation and reforms sends shivers down our spines at Nigerians, especially because of what we've been seeing. There's this mistrust. But I thank God that your rigorous questioning has brought about, my frayed nerves are being calmed presently. And I pray that if this reform is pushing for he and his group, if it's not sabotaged, I pray we all get good results by God's grace. Now, when he was talking about hidden taxes, that one also, made me scared until he began to explain all these things one by one. Initially, I felt this was like a reform that has honey laced with poison. But so far, so good. He has done a good explanation for me.
Thank you very much.
Is whatever they are doing, they should realize that the poor masses should be top priority in everything they are doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
calling. All right, we'll have our next listener, 99.3. Good morning.
Good morning, Kofi Bartels.
Welcome. Very quickly, please.
This is Pastor Ladipo.
All right.
My question to your guest is this. See, Mr. Oyedele. Good morning, sir. Thank God it's Monday. Thank God it's Monday. That is your favorite phrase. Now, my take is this, sir. There is this thing we pay when you have a vehicle. VIO will collect, road safety, and all of that. Now, police is coming up with another. I remember last year or last 2 years, they introduced proof of ownership, which is another means of taxation. Now, police is coming up with another, whether they call it e-tag or something again. With that no amount to another, how many things are we going to add just because you own one vehicle and you will pay for all these papers? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I'll add to that. You tell us also the position of your committee on the cybersecurity levy, which popped up again, though the CBN has denied that they are introducing it. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, no, very, very good question. Thanks for asking. So this is also the reason why we're doing this reform. We have far too many agencies of government trying to collect one tax or levy here and there, because that's how they steal our money. So they pretty much run their own government. They generate their revenue. They're not accountable to the people. They just waste our resources that we actually don't have. So our reform also is proposing that all agencies of government should stop collecting levies and taxes. So just focus on your primary duty. Even customs, we want customs to focus on trade facilitation and border protection. Let the revenue service collect your taxes. So if you are doing, we've understudied many countries. Even I call them small Rwanda. I don't think they always like it. In small Rwanda, whether you want to pay international passport or driver license, you pay to the revenue man. So the department doing license just focuses on doing license. We have that in our proposal as well. Wow. Stop everyone from collecting levies and taxes. And then on cybersecurity levy, our committee is not in support of it. Unfortunately, one of the hard things I have to deal with, people who know me very well, is I'm very outspoken and I come out in public and I say my mind. But in my role, I've said to myself, I cannot be the roadblock to the reform I've invested so much of my life into. So I can't come out openly to criticize government. But internally, we make this point known to them that this is wrong. And to a very large extent, they listen to us. So to put it on record, we are not in support of the cybersecurity levy.
All right. There's a lot to talk about, but I want to thank you so very kindly for your time. I think so far our listeners have been calm, like Mr. Bully earlier said. The nerves are a bit calm, free nerves are calm now. And hoping that your committee's proposals see the light of day, and then that the benefits you've talked about, the social contract and all that, will also be the portion of Nigerians. Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, thank you very much for your time. Chairman, Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms. I hope to have you again when you're back in town. And then, of course, we'll have you in the studio. Thank you very kindly for your time this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Appreciate it. And, of course, that's the size of a package right here on the Morning Crossfire. We'll run the one plate at NG. Draw on the other side. Don't forget, Monday to Friday, we have 50,000 now going away to 2 lucky winners on Monday to Thursday. And, of course, on Friday, it's one person winning 50,000 now. We'll run the draw after the news at 9. Follow me on X at Kofi_Bartels. And, of course, follow me on Instagram at Kofi Bartels, one word. X is Kofi_Bartels. Instagram is Kofi Bartels, one word. And on Facebook, it's Kofi Bartels on air. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Good morning.
News and sports after this.
He of trading himself. James,
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.